Hey, and welcome to another episode of Late Night Take 3. This is going to be a very fun one today. We're a bit later than we normally do, but that's for a good reason. We've got late to the party here with us. How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you? Hello there.
Yeah, it's got to be late. Like everybody always adjusts their live streams late because we're so damn like freaking occupied during the day. Like I wish I could just go and be live with everybody, but we've got to push it out to the late hours of evening. Like what time is it where you are, Malcolm?
It's 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, screw you, man. It's all right. But yeah, the East Coasters are starting to push into that 10 o'clock hour, I guess. But no, yeah, I wish we can go earlier, but we appreciate you guys pushing it out so that way we can jump on, because like I feel like we're missing all the fun when everyone goes live at 7 p.m.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about The Office, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And also here we've got Matt. Matt, how's it going?
Matthew Kearns, that glorious smile.
There we
Are you
go.
back? Are you alive?
Oh no.
We lost him. You lost your co-pilot, your Rogue 2.
We're live.
All right, Malcolm, it's just you and us. How about that, man?
Yeah.
It's a handicap match.
But yeah, I'm sure Matt will be back in time. But as we like to do when we start these is usually go over the box office, which there isn't really anything to talk about when it comes to the box office. But there is a few movie news that has come out over the week. But because it's only a review, so I'll go through each of them separately. But apparently there is going to be another live action Goosebumps TV series that is going to be in the works. So what, Robert, I'll start with you. What do you think about Goosebumps?
Goosebumps gave me one of the most exciting moments in my movie trivia, TV trivia life. One time we were up at Phoenix Comic-Con and we were at a movie trivia type event. And this was before we were even in the Schmodown. And we were sitting in the crowd, huge crowd, watching these guys do movie trivia and TV trivia, all kinds of trivia. And they were giving out some stuff. They were also doing like Clone Wars dubbing. It was kind of funny. But one of the questions was like, the first person to raise their hand gets to answer it. And they said, in what A-list actor appeared in the good? And then my hand went up. And they were just like, everyone stopped and looked over at me. And they were just like, you have an answer? I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, what is it? And I'm like, Ryan Gosling, Say Cheese and Die. And they're like, that's correct. And I'm like, yeah. And everyone's like, what the hell? Because Goosebumps, like so many of the episodes, like if you go back and watch them, they're not great, but you got Hayden Christensen I think it was like the Slappy Doll had like 3 episodes. I don't even remember he's in multiple, but you had this connection with the lovers of Goosebumps at the time to where it was great. The movie, I didn't care for it. Goosebumps 2, I didn't even watch it. What is it? The Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, wasn't a huge fan. I don't know if it's going to be for me anymore if they come out with a series, because I feel like they will gear it more towards the younger crowd, and I'm just not into what the younger crowd likes anymore.
Yeah.
You're old.
I'm old. Yeah, no, it's not for me.
Vanessa, what do you think about the new Goosebumps TV series?
I think that, it's given that they came back with, Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think that it's appropriate for them to come out with Goosebumps again. I never watched them when I was young. I was more of a Are You Afraid of the Dark person. I would watch that instead of Goosebumps. But I remember the opening scene of Goosebumps.
Yeah, the dog with the eyes and freaking R.L. Stein with the briefcase.
Yep. But other than that, I mean, I like the books. I loved reading the books. But other than that, I mean, the show, meh. And then the first movie, I remember watching it, and it was okay. It was fine. I never saw the second one. So I think that for this generation that are going up with Goosebumps, I think that it's a good, ease them back into Goosebumps, and then let them know, oh, by the way, there's some books and you can read them.
I remember
and you could do choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
I love the ones that you could choose your own adventure,
which was a different thing. And then Goosebumps adopted the choose your own adventure mentality. It was like the amusement park, Horrorland, I think it was. But yeah, I remember Goosebumps was so damn popular when I was in school that they banned them from being able to be used for book reports because they're like, nah, screw you kids, go read other books.
Going this way.
Yeah, everyone was just doing damn Goosebumps. Nobody was reading The Giver.
Then you could read them again, and then you would take a different route.
Sure.
Instead.
Yeah.
Or you just cheat. You're like,
you still on the choose your own adventure. Vanessa's all putting her fingers in multiple pages.
Oh, I did. I had like bookmarks at each one. I'm like, okay, let me go both ways and see which one pans out better.
That's what she said.
And Matt, what do you think about a new Goosebumps TV series happening?
It's interesting. Also, hi, I'm back. My Wi-Fi sucks. Hi. I mean, so when it comes to Goosebumps TV shows, it was a little bit past my time when that show was on. They really only played some of the movies or specials around Halloween on Cartoon Network. I never really got into it. I do remember the books. They were certainly the books that, like, the covers were always cooler than the actual book. Like, you would go into the library and you would just look at the covers and you'd be like, that looks cool. And then you read it and you'd be like, man, that story was not nearly as cool as that cover led me to believe. That and Magic Treehouse were the same things. It was like the covers looked awesome and the stories were just fine. Never saw either one of the live action movies. I mean, hey, you know, there's a collection of There's always a collection of those kids who enjoy scary, weird stories that will embrace whatever I assume streaming platform this is going to, because new shows don't go on cable anymore, right?
There is a desire, though. I think there is a market for anthology horror done right. Like American Horror Story, in my opinion, is not horror. Like there's a lot of horror taken out of it. I am so confused. I'm confused in terms of like their narrative and ways that they go with the story, where it's like, well, now you're just getting artsy with it. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm getting a good payoff with the story. Usually the stories just end and I'm like, okay, we did stuff for like 10 episodes, whatever. I don't care as much anymore at the end than I do at the beginning, with the exception of the first season. But like VHS, did you guys ever watch the VHS series? I think there was 3 of them. 3's not good. 2's
was
pretty
it on
cool.
VHS?
No. Anthology horror, though.
Yeah, it's more so like these people go and they find like this VHS tape, and on the tape had like different story, like different horror stories that are happening, and each different horror story is directed by a different director.
Okay.
I believe, and it's kind of like the ABCs of death.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's kind of like that, but VHS is a good one.
VHS is more found footage type stories.
When it comes to horror, once we got past like Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, I'm kind of out. I'm not a horror guy unless Malcolm's directing it with Michael J. Fox. Then I'm into it.
I mean, then you've got like the body horror too stuff. Like, that's a whole different genre. I mean, there's plenty of horror out there for everybody that you can totally respect on many different levels. But yeah, I think anthology horror done a little bit right, because I tried to check in with like Are You Afraid of the Dark, the new one, and I'm like, yeah, no, again, this is too kiddie for me.
I have to watch it. I actually haven't gone back to watch it, but I should go back and see.
They're just not the same
It'll
anymore.
probably be disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like for me, I really loved the Goosebumps original TV series. As soon as I could, I binged them all on Netflix the other day, at the start of the year, actually. Depending on how they go adapting these stories, I could be down for it. Like, if they do what they did with the original one, get some unknown ones actors that could potentially become big. Like, I think back then, I don't think anyone really knew who Ryan Gosling, Hayden Christensen really was. The original one happened, but and I mean, I'm actually a big defender of the movies. I love both of the movies.
I was gonna say, Malcolm, I knew when they were talking about that, I was like, oh, Malcolm loves those movies. I know that.
I mean, it's all subjective. Like, it's one of those ones like, it all depends on the story that they choose to go with when it comes to this. And I mean, I think for a big Goosebumps fan, I can kind of see what some were disappointed with the movies because they try to cram just about every horror movie into the story into one. But yeah. One of the other big news has come out this week is and we're talking about this,
Ryan Gosling.
No.
Come on, Hercules. Come on, right?
Well, I mean,
he was young Hercules on Fox
Hercules.
Kids. Come on, it's somewhat connected.
Yeah, there's a connection there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Malcolm. Are you disappointed?
No, I actually didn't know that Ryan Gosling had a connection with Hercules.
In that case, yeah. No, yeah.
It's the prequel to the Kevin Sorbo show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of like any of those shows, which is weird.
This isn't my world.
Yeah.
There's a boy.
But yeah, it came out this week. Whether or not this is completely true, I don't really know, but it has come out that Disney is planning a live-action Hercules movie now. Nothing else is really confirmed for it, but yeah, I think as the directors, I think they've said potentially in the talks. I think Jon Favreau's on the list. But Vanessa, I know you're a big Disney person. What do you think of a live-action Hercules movie?
I can get down on that. I dig the first. I mean, I dig the animated movie. I do love the movie. I think that the music for the animated movie is great. And if they don't have the song "Going the Distance" in the movie, it's just a big fat no. They need that. They need that song there. It'll be interesting. I think that with the Hercules live action, I feel like. I want to say this with a grain of salt, but I think that it might be not hard to mess it up, if that makes sense. But as long as they can find the right people to play the muses and the right person to play Hercules, I think everything will. And Hades and Meg, I guess all the characters. But
they find the right horse to play Peg.
Right. Find the right horse, find the right half goat, half man. Then they'll be good there.
But
I'm excited.
Yeah. No, it's definitely something to be excited about.
I was going to say, I also feel like they should not, like, when it comes to getting somebody to play Hercules, I kind of hope that, when they're casting this, that they don't go with a name, like with somebody who has like clout behind their name, and maybe go someone who doesn't. I think it worked really well with Aladdin because we didn't really know him that well, and so him coming in as Aladdin, I felt like it fit. So I feel like they should do the same thing with Hercules and find somebody that doesn't have a big name, and then maybe have a couple, like Hades could probably be somebody that we all know.
She's just gonna go through the whole cast list. You realize that, right?
She should be someone who's guest starred on a couple of TV shows, so we kind of know who she is. Just all goes.
We kind of know who she is, but we kind of don't. Maybe we'll just get what's her name.
Honestly, like I'm okay with them casting whoever. Like, yeah, Danny DeVito, he could come back as Phil. Probably won't, but then again, maybe it's like the whole Mufasa thing where you kind of need a constant to stick around from one to the other. So Phil kind of is perfectly cast as Danny DeVito. Or for me, it's Pain and Panic. Like you got to bring back Pain and Panic. And one of the things that kind of like didn't hit for me was the hyenas in Lion King. Like, sure, like I love the casting, but at the same time, they didn't really do much. Like they didn't have a lot going on versus like Shenzi and Banzai and Ed. Like I felt like they were definitely more characters in the very first animated feature.
You know who I would love for Pain and Panic?
Bobcat Goldthwait and freaking Matt Fewer, the ones that played Pain and Panic, because that's all we can't recast.
If they had to get somebody to recast it, they need to get Donald Glover.
Holy crap!
Danny Pudi.
Yeah, that would be legit.
And they could be Pain and Panic. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Get on it, Disney.
Yeah, because you got...
And it's the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they think that the Russos are going to be a part of it. And if you know Community, you know that Troy and Abed are part of that. And the Russo brothers were a huge part of Community for the first 3 seasons. So they've got like a good thing together, and that would be amazing if they were Pain and Panic.
It would be, and they don't have to be Troy and Abed either.
No.
Like they could just play Pain and Panic and do a damn good job. So yeah, you perfectly cast them. I'd be okay with them taking over for Matt Frewer and Bobcat Goldthwait, but still, it pains me to replace Bobcat.
Yeah, I mean, one person I think would be is a very underrated actor that I think could portray Hercules very well. Mike Kalinowski could do a good Hercules.
You're talking about me, Malcolm. All right, cool.
You got to go younger. I love Mike, but you got to go with that younger, like early 20s type. I mean, maybe he's 25 playing younger. But yeah, I feel like you're going to...
Yeah, but he could play older Herc.
When do we get older Herc? I mean, is he still younger Herc? I don't mean kid Herc.
You mean like young? You get younger and
no, he's young.
Herc.
He's just buff. Like he's a big buff guy, but he's young. He's not that old.
I guess.
Yeah, he's in his early 20s. Been a real slice. Love Hercules.
But Matt, what do you think about a live action Hercules movie?
I'm interested. The animated one is one of my favorite Disney films. So Lego of Aladdin, I'm a little trepidatious when they start dipping into my nostalgia and my childhood. It could be good. I think Hercules, certainly it's been around far before the Disney films, so I mean, the last 2 live action attempts that were non-Disney didn't really work out well, but we don't need to talk about that. As far as the casting goes, I'm always terrible at these things. Like with Hercules, you need to get someone who, and again, it kind of sucks, but like kind of like Zachary Levi as Shazam. Like, just get someone who has that, like, because the thing about Hercules in that original movie was, yeah, he was super buff, but like he was also really goofy because like he's a kid essentially. Like Robert said, like he's probably in his early 20s at best. Right. So you gotta get someone who can play that, but also can play the heroic side, the true hero side, as Zeus would say. As far as Hades, you need to get someone who's just really, really funny. Because I was thinking about James Woods, he was like just incredible and amazing, and that's why I love that character so much.
I think Michael Sheen could do it.
Michael Sheen?
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Sheen is just great in everything he does, but yeah, he would be a much more distinguished and commanding, but yet does not take himself seriously all the time.
Or if you really want to stretch back into the Disney films, you get John Lithgow to play him.
Oh, I love John
famously,
Lithgow.
he played him. He recorded almost the whole film, and then they were like, nah. And then they brought in James Woods.
It's weird. Yeah, I'd love to hear that version. I'd love to see that version.
Yeah, it's kind of like Tim Curry voicing the Joker. I wish they would release these things. But regardless, that's Hercules is the most important one to me because it's like you could get Hades right, you could get Pain and Panic right, but like if you get your main character wrong, and particularly in a film like Hercules, because it's his journey. All the ancillary characters are bad. It's you have to get a character that you like, because particularly, not to spoil the ending for all, like, I guess 3 of you who never saw that movie, when the thing happens in the underworld, if you don't care about Hercules, that moment doesn't matter to you.
Once you hate him, and then it matters
but
a lot.
It also would be the same. You would have to cast somebody for Hercules and Meg that have good chemistry too, because
that's the biggest thing.
Going back to what you're saying about, at the end of the underworld, if they don't have good chemistry and you don't feel what they're feeling, then like his whole thing is like,
it's worthless. It's all worthless. But it's so sad to think that we can't get Rip Torn to reprise his role as Zeus, because that he was just he was so good.
We'll just get Liam Neeson do it.
Liam Neeson? Zeus?
Yeah, because you play Zeus.
You want Zeus to play Zeus?
Yeah, exactly.
He already knows it pretty well.
I wouldn't be opposed
bring over
to
everybody. Let's bring over everybody from Clash and Wrath of the Titans and just recast them in Hercules.
So Sam
Worthington is Hercules.
Sam just played the two different leads.
You know who you would love?
Oh, Vanessa.
I don't remember his name.
Good combo.
Hades, I've got a special set of skills. I know where you hid Hercules.
I would mind actually seeing Taika Waititi take on Hades.
Yeah, but I want to see Taika in everything.
That's true.
Take on any role. But
Malcolm's like, all right, Vanessa's the best guest we've ever had. She mentioned Taika Waititi.
I mean, I'm interested to see how he ends up playing the villain. If he is even the villain, he could be just like a small part of the Free Guy movie, with Ryan Reynolds. So that will be a chance to kind of see him play an asshole, because I'm sure he could be, because he's already an asshole. That's what's great about Taika. Like, he's clever.
Didn't he play Hitler?
Sure
did he play the biggest asshole?
I mean, yeah, but it was more satire, and he was playing him like really dumb,
really stupid.
Stupid.
But he has played one of the biggest villains in human history. So sure, you're right.
Yeah, and I mean, Tiger said in interviews that part of the reason he chose to play him is, as he said, like, what would piss off Hitler the most? And it'd be a Maori Jew playing himself.
Yeah, that would piss him off.
That would.
And piss off a lot of other people, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's kind of all the news that kind of really stood out. And there's a lot of smaller stuff, but a lot of it was more, did people sign on to direct things that may or not come out anytime soon. So, but so time to move on to our main topic, which is The Office. And like, this is one I just picked because it's a great one. It's a great show, and two, there really isn't anything I could tie up. If it's like, I'll find something in the Office. I've actually really got into this a lot this year, because I sort of watched a lot of the seasons sort of at the start of the year. But Vanessa, how did you come across The Office? Sort of, did it get recommended to you?
Yes and no. I worked with a lot of people back when I used to work at Best Buy that loved The Office, and I never actually started watching it when they were watching it back then. And then, they kept pressuring and they kept saying, "Hey, The Office is amazing. You should watch it." So I started watching it back when Michael was leaving. So I never got to see the full blast of Michael until watching it again after it came out on Netflix. But I did watch it when it was live, when the final season of the Michael, and then the last two seasons after that. And then I went back and I just fell in love.
Non-stop ever since.
It has. And it's funny too, because we'll watch it on Netflix and we have cable as well. So I'll be shifting through the channels and then it'll be on Comedy Central. I'm like, you know what? I'll just play that. So I'll play it on Netflix, but I'll also watch it out of order on Comedy Central.
Yeah, we're so behind on a lot of TV because we constantly watch The Office. Like it's more so that we forget about all the other stuff that we need to watch. And then, Channel 39 for us is Comedy Central. So we always go to Channel 39 to see what's there.
But I also feel like sometimes I have to be in the mood to start a new show. And a lot of times I'm not. Like, I'm like super tired, and it takes a lot of energy just to kind of focus on the show. And then I just put on the Office because it's kind of just in the background now.
Yeah, The Office fairly, like, it is a soundtrack essentially to our daily lives because it's always on. You just leave it on. And many different, quotes and lines and scenes are backdrops to our daily lives. And that's how we memorize them. That's how Vanessa memorizes them more. She killed it recently in an Office quiz over on Video Drew's channel. Dominated. I had no clue she was paying that close of attention because she's always on her phone when it's on. But it's like she absorbed everything about it and just killed it. And that's what I think is fantastic about this show, and that's what I ended up falling in love like in the beginning, was if you do pay attention to it, you do absorb so much when it comes to the characters, when it comes to the atmosphere, when it comes to the episodes, the storylines, the quotes, like everything about it is so damn memorable and lovable. And that's how I ended up getting into it, because I ended up watching the first 6 episodes of The Office when they came out, because I had already seen the British Office, and I saw the first 6, but it didn't hold me to the point where I wanted to come back and watch more. And even though I knew Steve Carell from The Daily Show, which I did watch pretty avidly back in the day, Stephen Colbert versus Steve Carell, one of the best segments on The Daily Show. And when you've got him running this series, like, there was something about it. The hair slicked back, didn't like it. Like, there was just something about it that just didn't click with me. And when I remember my buddy, who was a diehard, passionate Office fan, Tony Santiago, was quoting the Dinner Party episode in the back room where we worked at Target, and like the mannerisms and all the passion he put into doing the quotes. And Michael, like, I could just stare at this all day, like, look at this plasma all day, and then pushing it into the wall. Like, he did that whole episode, and I had never seen it, and I was just so like blown away by it, where it was like, yeah, okay, I need to go watch it. And instead of watching at the Dinner Party, I went all the way back, watched the first 6 episodes. I just drooled over myself, started thinking about Michael Scott, watching those first 6 episodes, and then all the way through. And I caught up, I think, to maybe it was like season 4 where they were currently at, 4 or 5. And that's when I watched it live as it came out every week. Until the very final episode of The Office. So I was late to the game, sort of. But yeah, it was the love and passion for The Office. To this day, Tony Santiago, diehard Office fan. His daughter did like this awesome recreation of Michael Scott in Times Square.
In New York. Yeah.
Oh man, Sir Tone at the Movies on Instagram. Go check him out. But yeah, it was so good. I'm gonna get me a New York slice. Like, she's walking across the street and everything. Like, his daughter's also a diehard fan.
What is he when he goes down into the subway?
Oh god, there's somebody
on the pooping in the cardboard box down there.
But yeah, man, it's those quotes. It's that love. That's what got us both into The Office, and yeah, I never let go ever since then.
Matt, how did you first sort of come across The Office?
So the first time I ever really saw The Office was, I guess, maybe even now I haven't been, but at the time in the early 2000s, American Airlines had a deal with NBC. So if you took an American Airlines flight, they always had like NBC shows. And The Office around that time, it was like season 2 and 3 was on. And so you would always see like 1 or 2 episodes, and I always thought it was funny, but I never. Obviously, I was probably a little bit too young when the show first started. I mean, what is it? 2005 it started. I was in 2nd, 3rd grade, so I was probably too young to start watching it. Then by the time season 6 was on, I just kind of stumbled upon the first episode I ever really watched was The Delivery. And I'll never forget, because it was probably the funniest episode of TV I ever saw. I was like, what is this show? And then I sort of looked back in the newspaper and found what it was, and I realized it was on every night on TBS at that time as well. And so I would watch it on Thursdays, the rest of season 6, and then I would get caught up with TBS because they would do like 3-hour marathon every Monday. And so that's I just kind of threw both of that, and I haven't stopped watching it since. I was probably a little bit too young, but it's not really like a dirty show in a way that, like, I was in 6th grade, but it was so funny that like I was the only like 6th grader clearly who was watching it, because I would like say things and no one in my class would understand it. And so it was kind of that fun thing to where it was like, I didn't want to tell my friends what the show was, because I kind of liked the fact that I could just be like, that's what she said. And they'd be like, what? And I'd be like, Michael Scarn.
That's how I felt with South Park. Like, when I was younger and South Park came out, like, I was watching South Park episode 1, and my family was watching South Park episode 1, and it's just one of those ones where like we had watched like the Spirit of Christmas, I think was the short that they had with Santa Claus and Jesus and all that. And then when I remember we were trying to get it online. We got it from a friend who ended up emailing it or sending it some way on a floppy disk, and I was able to watch it. Like it was like underground shit, to just watch that episode of the Office of South Park, which wasn't South Park at the time. But when the first episode came out, fell in love with it, and I was the only one at school that kind of knew the references in the very beginning. And then all of a sudden, shit, you can get stuffed animals and backpacks and shirts and everything for South Park because all the kids ate it up and loved it, even though it's not meant for them. It's so vulgar and over the top, but it's funny.
Cartoon.
Yeah, it's funny how The Office, it is. There's some things in The Office, and you're like, holy crap! I can't believe they got away with saying that. But at the same time, it's a lot of kids. We do know a lot of kids that absolutely love it. My cousins love it. We talked about Tony, his daughter. She's much older now, but man, she was little and loved it growing up. So yeah, it's cool when you're kind of the one that's in the know, because I think it's something that everybody could love if you give it, a little bit more attention to actually stick it through and watch it. Like Community. I think you're going through Community right now,
Just started yesterday after the first 4 episodes. So
you're in for a treat, man. Especially because it does, there are some things about it that do derail, and it's unfortunate, but it's the behind the scenes stuff that really kind of supplements what happened with that series that makes it more intriguing to watch, especially to watch from season to season as Fallout descends upon NBC and Dan Harmon and Chevy Chase and the Russo brothers and everybody. It's interesting too, because The Office didn't really, that we knew of, didn't have any of that. But yeah, it came out that even NBC screwed the bed when it came to or Michael. Yeah, they screwed up. They screwed up when it came to Michael Scott, when it came to Steve Carell. So a lot of these good shows, they tend to limp on when they take a huge blow, and that's how a lot of people view The Office. Ben Goddard is very much not a fan of the later seasons of The Office, and I understand why.
We get it.
I understand why.
Season 8 is the one, because to go along with what you guys were saying, I'm surprised I didn't say it, The Office is my favorite TV show of all time because it's the easiest show for me to watch. Normally when I'm bored, I just start an Office marathon. And I'll just I'll go through season 1 to 9. Season 8 is the one to where I'm always all right. But I actually really like season 9. I think it especially picks up when Andy leaves because I never liked Andy as manager. I thought looking back, I understand why you had, because The Hangover was huge and you had one of the stars of that movie on your show. So why not make him the main character essentially? But I just always thought that was terrible. So when he left, I was like, the show kind of got better. And I remember watching the finale, my mom, MASH, when that was on, that was her show. And she watched the finale in tears. For me, it was The Office. I remember watching it, being so sad when Pam has her final line. I was just...
all the more reason, for them not to pick Ed Helms as the manager, it was not just to pick his character. Because Ed Helms had that success with The Hangover, and he was leaving and going off and disappearing for chunks of time. And sure, they covered it well in the story. But
the problem was Andy was never meant to, because if you watch this show, which is really weird to kind of, go from I saw those episodes week to week, and now when I watch them, I watch them back to back. It's just his character changes almost immediately in the first episode of season 8 because they had to rewrite his character because his character was not meant to hold as many storylines as the manager of the Office needed to, like Michael. And it's upsetting ultimately.
But the thing is the go-getter is always going to get his time. A go-getter is always going to eventually chip away at the management to be able to become management themselves. And it isn't until something trips them up or actually ruins the experience, or that you just see that they can't do it, that they get knocked down a peg. And that's how Andy always was. He was a suck up. He was a kiss ass. Did you hear what I said, Josh? He is always, I'm coming at you,
Saboteur.
Tuna. I disagree when it comes to him and Dwight. And they're like, I
think I'm number 2.
Yeah, exactly. So he was always fighting for that top spot.
Of sales.
He was always meant to do something greater than the position he was in, even though he wasn't either qualified or good at it. So I felt like the trajectory that Andy does take, makes sense. However, I do feel like there was really nowhere for them to go with Andy at that point because Andy didn't have a trajectory and they gave him too much of a trajectory too quickly. And then he just drops out because he has to go film The Hangover. So they should have given it to Ray Romano. Correct answer. Who should have been manager? Ray Romano should have been the manager of The Office.
That French guy. I know he was a bit burnt up, but I think he could have done it. What do you want me to do? Just sit here and cry?
Was that Baby Wawa? Is that what that was?
Yeah. I have this on my jukebox. People love to dance to this.
Andy,
none of the money goes to Andy, though.
Andy's a screw up, man. Andy's a screw up, and he overcompensates, and he trips up, and he puffs his chest. Even though I get it. I get why they did pick Andy, and I get why they give him such a big.
Don't get me started on Andy and Aaron.
Helping. And Andy is one of they totally messed up the whole Andy and Aaron story. Andy actually, again, Andy had no conflict because he had Jessica. Jessica was perfect for him. He got the job. He was doing fine. Andy was fine, and they need a little anarchy in the office. And Andy ended up being the one to cause the most anarchy, or at least when it came to just the conflict in the office, because with him and Nellie, and then him and Aaron,
that's why season 8. There's just so many storylines where I'm just like,
You lost Michael, and you got the other guy from The Daily Show, which was Ed Helms. So, like, they kind of trusted in the wrong character when they could have brought in another character and been able to place it on them. That would have, I thought, been a much better replacement because there was room to build. Like I was saying, Ray Romano's character, he is very broken down and kind of he is a pushover. He is not confident and he's terrified.
Well, that was the thing. I wish we would have gotten to see more of D'Angelo as the manager without Michael there. I would have preferred to see a couple more episodes because I like Inner Circle. Inner Circle, I love that episode. Not as the full, like for a full season, but at least more than one episode. I would have liked it.
I don't like that they killed him off.
Cringe.
Yeah, don't like that they killed him off.
I was okay when they killed him off. I was like, oh God, thank God that he's gone.
They didn't kill him off. He just went brain dead.
Gotta get him to the Dundee.
See, I feel like D'Angelo should have never happened, in my opinion. Like, there was just a much more graceful way they could have gone about the whole Michael exit and the whole interviews. I wasn't a big fan of the whole interviews aspect either. It's funny, but they spent a lot of time on it. And then when it comes back, it's like, oh, they gave it to Robert California. Oh, Robert California ended up taking the CEO job instead.
I will never forget driving around with my mom. She was listening to the radio and they do like entertainment news. And they talked about the fact that James Spader has been added to the cast of The Office for season 8. And I got so mad because I'm like, well, they just spoiled who's the new manager. I remember thinking that because that was the whole thing before season 8 came out. Like, who's manager? I remember hearing that and being like, well, obviously it's this dude.
So
they
that's
should
why
have
they had
gotten
to
that David
it.
Brent. They should have gotten that David Brent. I feel like he could have done things.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais is so brilliant as David Brent. But at the same time, it's like Ricky Gervais is just so busy. And I just feel like he's only good in small doses now when it comes to David Brent. And the way they utilized him was great. That whole scene with Michael in the hallway.
Can I have a job? What?
It's fantastic.
What, you're looking for a leader of men? Echo facto. Bye-bye, baby. Bye-bye.
I came to the office, like as I said earlier, I came to the office really late in the game. Like when it first happened, like I did watch the UK version, and I wasn't a big fan of the UK version at all. And when I heard that there's American, I did watch the first. Yeah, I mean, I did watch the first season of the American one. I kind of remember just not getting into it that well. But then when I've recently rewatched it again, I got more into it. So I don't know what it's about on just coming back to The Office.
Because you're friends with me now, Malcolm, and I just reference and I dress like this when we're just talking on Skype. You had to like it.
Did you like model the Office costumes too, Kearns? Were you like a baby boy model for
Oh
Jim?
my God. No,
No?
no.
I'll believe that when I
Three-hole
see
punch
it.
Jim. We'll go into spirit.
That was me for Halloween.
Day,
That
we'll be
was
like, that's Matt.
Was it 2 years ago? I did that for Halloween to school. I did 3-hole punch version Jim because he got me either way, plain white Jim or 3-hole punch.
Do Facebook Jim too.
Yes, on the popular
I remember
social
a lot
networking site, Bookface.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go to Robert first on this one. What are some of your favorite episodes of the show?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it does come down to Dinner Party being one of the favorite episodes that I love, beginning to end. Even like an extended scenes, I wish we could make like a hour-long episode of Dinner Party and just put together the deleted scenes and put together the alternate takes, put together the bloopers, like everything in there, and watch Dinner Party. And now the crazy thing for me in The Office too, it's like I don't even remember what the episodes are. I don't even know what a lot of the episode names are. It's the experiences. Like, where are we in the story? Oh, this is where. Like, I can't piece together what a lot of the episodes are, because all the cold opens, all the action pieces, Dwight hanging there from the bike and the printer, like Dwight dropping the freaking bug bomb in The Office later season. But when it comes down to those moments, like I don't remember what was actually going on in each episodes because it's just one linear story for me. So that's why Dinner Party's a little easier. Fun Run's a little easier because it's like a 2-episode thing. And it's that's what's great about The Office is like all of them are my favorite episode because just they all connect so flawlessly. I love going down to Tallahassee. I love the whole thing at the hotel with what the hell's her name that comes into Jim's room, Kathy. They're like, oh, is this March Madness? No, because that's in March.
That's in March.
And the bed bugs. How did he look? Did he look smug? So smug. Like, oh, it's so. Oh, Jim had to have been in some bad with
no.
The
White did it.
So many great moments
at the alcohol club.
Oh
Florida Stanley.
Yes. Everybody shines so bright in so many different episodes of The Office to where it's like I can't really pick. It's probably easier for me to pick out the ones that I'm not a huge fan of. And it comes down to their clip shows. Like I that's my worst one is I hate the clip show episode. There's funny moments. Computron with
the banker.
Yeah, from Breaking Bad.
Actually, I am a fact checker.
Yeah, it's like I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of clip shows, except for Community. You'll find out, Kearns, when you get there. They have the best clip show.
I saw your post the other day.
Yeah,
great. I can't wait for you to get to it.
We did talk about that, how because clip shows we already saw that, and it's nice to reminisce on like past things. You're like, oh, that was funny, but yeah, the way the Community does it's great. I guess I could go to I would go and say that I don't necessarily have like a favorite episode. Just more so just different scenes that I absolutely love within different episodes themselves. I do like the Christmas party episodes that they have. I love the one where Meredith gets super wasted and she like burns her hair off. Mm-hmm. Enabler. She's all good. And then he tries to drop her off at rehab. That was great.
Have you ever questioned the teachings of the Mormon Church? Where'd you get this? Internet?
Yeah.
I got a deposit for you. Turns out you can't just drop people off at rehab.
Yep.
No! They're all dragging her.
Stuff like that, or the episode where they have to stay late because Joe is in the office and they're all trying to go to, St. Patrick's Day, and they're all just like, and then the cleaning people come in, they're like, oh, sorry.
Well, if you could put a stamp on today and say that you did a great job, then go on ahead. Nope, guys, stay. Nope.
Like, and then like some of the Halloween episodes too, like the one where they have the party and which one would it be? Where the savings book over $15,000 in savings, and they all have to vote on it. Best Edward James Olmos costume
ever.
Like, freaky good.
I'm the what is it?
Consumer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I heard when you told it to Phyllis. It's good.
Yeah.
They end up burning their vote on Oscar, and he ends up winning.
Yeah, because they can't for themselves. We all know what sells in this office, okay? Because Angela changed her costume.
Oh, look good too as the nurse, the hot nurse.
But Matt, what are some of your favorite episodes?
So I am a crazy person, I guess, because I do know the titles of episodes. So my favorite episode overall is kind of since I first saw it and still now is Niagara. Just Jim and Pam is probably my favorite thing about The Office, and that is just sort of the culmination. But it's also really funny. There's so many great moments with Michael and Dwight. I found twins. Twins. They're men, Dwight.
My favorite part of that episode too, where she's like, "How many horses do you have?" And he's like, 9 3/4.
Yeah. Sky Mom was still considering it. Sears said no.
Yeah.
So that's probably my overall favorite episode. Casino Night, I also really like. Yeah, and then some other just random episodes that I enjoy. Money, Fat Run. I think my favorite Christmas episode has always been, and I probably now that I've said I know the titles, I'll get it wrong, but it's Secret Santa, I think, from season 6 when Michael wants to be Santa, but Jim has let Phyllis, so he decides because he's Michael Scott, he dresses up as Jesus. It's just great. Look, the Antichrist. You can't push religion here. Oh, but I can push drugs. Oh, pick your poison. So those are probably some of my favorites. But I mean, to quote Michael Scott from an episode, what are my favorite episodes? All of them.
They all have their merits.
Yeah,
sure.
even the ones from like season 8, I think is the weakest season, but there's still like the Florida stuff. There are still episodes in there that I think are just have comedic gold to them.
They really haven't improved much on the Oreo, have they? I love Robert California. Gabe, come on. Gabe is so amazing in that show.
He went to Florida and convinced Joe out of her own job.
It is kind of sad how they got rid of Kathy Bates that quick. It made me sad because I love Joe Bennett.
Yeah.
She was a great addition to the office.
We'll stick to it, just like Niha and what was it? Sundust.
Was how I said it, not enough.
Was the one I said not good enough?
like moss on a Mississippi stump or something like that.
Yes.
Well, Jim, there are two types of people. Those who ain't and those who are knee-high on bird dog.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I really love the Halloween episodes. I think they're always a lot of fun. But for me, my number one favorite episode would have to be the Dundies. Just seeing all those ridiculous awards that Michael's giving out to his co-workers.
Tiny Dundee.
But it's just so much fun and just one of those ones. But it does lead us on to the next thing I've thought up, and it's going to break a lot of people because it involves brackets.
I love brackets.
Bring up brackets.
But yeah, basically what I've done is I've been on IMDb and put the first 16 people that is on the cast list sort of they're seated in order of the number of episodes they were in. So we're going to see what the ultimate sort of favorite episode is. I know at least one of these matchups is going to break everyone.
Okay.
But the first matchup I've got is Dwight versus Daryl. So I'm going to start with Vanessa. Who do you want to give your vote to on this one?
Okay, so I love Daryl. I do. I think that Daryl is an awesome character that was added to the show, and I love when he is now part of the office instead of just being in the warehouse, because he does have some crazy moments sometimes. Whoa, he or she got ourselves into a predicament. But I go watching The Office in the view of Dwight. Like, The Office is about Dwight finding his way to becoming a manager. And that's how I view The Office when I do reruns too. Like, I'll go back and forth between Michael. But since Dwight is there the whole time, I just like, okay, this is his story of how he becomes manager. So my vote is for Dwight.
Robert?
Yeah, Daryl is amazing. However, his character himself is a little too back and forth when it comes to certain things, and that's just how he was written. So when it came down to like Daryl being a go-getter, I've got good ideas, I'm going to be a manager, to like shit in the bed when it came down to being a manager and doing the whole interview and just trying to get in based off of knowing everybody, not even thinking he had to try to get the job, where I understand, but at the same time, it was like you didn't go full-fledged for it, Daryl. And when it came down to Val, like he tries so hard to get Val, then he gets Val, then he's dumping Val. Again, the writers, but at the same time, there's inconsistencies in the character that I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of tarnishes Daryl's character for me, kind of like, they do for Andy at times. But Dwight is the constant. Dwight is, to me and Vanessa, the prime character of The Office beginning to end. So therefore, it's Dwight. It's always Dwight.
Matt?
I love Daryl as well. I wanted to play president because I thought it'd be good for my daughter to see a black president. Boy, what a stupid decision I made. Yeah, I love Daryl. I think when they added him to the cast, it was a great decision. But Dwight is awesome, and he led to probably my favorite cold opening of the show ever, which is when he decides to do the fire drill. It's probably my favorite cold opening of all time.
Yeah, it's great.
Today, smoking's gonna save lives.
Yeah, I mean, my vote's going to Dwight just for pretty much what everyone else has sort of said in this, so which makes this very easily Dwight. But the next matchup we have is Meredith versus Creed. And I'm going to start with Robert on this one.
Oh man, that's tough. Now I do love how they finished off the storyline with Meredith. It was college, the fact she was getting her degree and she was partying the entire time. Single mom, but she's so, trashy.
Yeah, I got a beef with that.
No shame. She's shameless. That's what I love about Meredith. But Creed is so weird, and I love how freaking weird and unorthodox he is, but it doesn't feel like random for the sake of random. So therefore, yeah, for me, it's edged out Creed all the way.
Matt, Meredith or Creed?
I love Meredith. I think she's great. I think she has one of the best moments in the final episode when she realizes that her son's the stripper at the party. But Creed, he has so many great moments. Oh, so it's Halloween. All right, that's
lucky.
That's lucky. Hey, boss. Sorry I'm late. There's been a murder, and you're the suspect. All right, I just gotta go in my car real fast. That's Alaskan Northern Lights. He also might have the best line in the final episode, which is his whole speech. It moves me to tears as he's being arrested, so I gotta give it to Creed.
Yeah, I mean, my vote is also going to Creed. I do enjoy Meredith, but I think Creed does have some of the best lines in this, and it's one of those ones I really can't look past that. So yeah, Vanessa, Meredith or Creed?
For me, and it comes down to one particular episode when they're in the conference room and Toby's trying to teach him self-defense. And he's like slap and scream and run,
Strike and run.
And freaking Creed going. And when he hits Meredith, and he slaps her and he screams and he runs away. That is why I am voting for Creed.
Also because he could do cartwheel.
That's true too.
I did it.
Hand in his pocket, so proud.
I love that he's like, oh, I'm playing hooky. And he actually comes up on
Funny enough, too, both Creed and Meredith have done, just within this last few months, their own renditions of the Office theme song. Meredith, I think, just did hers like a couple days ago. Creed did an amazing one a few months back at a live show. Look both of those up online because both of them did a fantastic job because, they're not the primary Office characters, but damn it, do they not have a hell of a following, all of them, a hell of a following thanks to this show. But yeah, Creed moves on.
Yeah. The next matchup we have is Stanley versus Andy. I'm going to start with Matt.
I like Andy. I think Andy's pretty funny, especially season 4. Season 4 was probably prime Andy for me. That's probably when I liked him the best. But Stanley is just constantly funny. I think one of the moments that makes me laugh so much from that show will ever be an exchange. It's a quick moment. It's exchange between him and Ryan, actually, where he's just like, if I want to keep up the same dietary and sexual lifestyle, which I intend to. Oh, no, Stanley, you live forever. That is my daughter. She goes to Catholic girls' school. Boy, have you lost your mind, because I'll help you find it. It's Stanley. It's easily Stanley.
But yeah, I don't know if this is going to be controversial, but I like Andy more. Stanley's, I don't know how to put it. He does have some good moments, but he's also found ways to annoy me a lot when he's
a
in
grump.
a seat.
He's a grump.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm not a big fan of Stanley, so my vote's going to easily go to Andy on this.
All right, so this is the first one that we did not all agree on.
Robert, Stanley or Andy?
Stanley, again, more constant throughout the story. They give him more, and he does a hell of a job with the more for his character. He is promiscuous. He's a wild man. He is...
Did I say Messina?
He is... basically, he shuts down at work to use all that energy outside. I could identify with that mentality at work. Like, I'm there, like, I'm completely different at work than I am here. I'm there to work. I'm there to do my job. I'm not high energy. I try to keep the talking to a minimum to get my job done so I can come here and then I save it for the vlog, bro. And I use it all here. So when it comes down to it, I do prefer Stanley more so than Andy, only because of the missteps that they do with Andy's character, giving him the manager. It does tarnish him in the end. Baby Wawa. I mean, Andy's pretty pathetic at times. Andy does some great things, but at the same time, it hurt him in the long run as a character. So yeah, I'd have to go with Stanley Hudson.
I just have to say, you guys really need to get like licensed late to the party shirts that say "Save it for the vlog."
Save it for the vlog, bro. I heard that somewhere, so I probably couldn't coin it. But yeah, it's like it's something to be said for.
Look, I'm sure that's what she said, which said before The Office, and they coined that all over the place.
It's true, yeah. Wayne's World, man. Wayne's World. That's what she said. Huge, but yeah, they were able to do it better. So yeah, maybe we'll save it for the vlog, bro.
Vanessa, Stanley or Andy?
Oh, let's see. Stanley or Andy? I do like some of the things that Stanley does. And I, like you said, he is a constant. His progression is great, and it's very subtle for his character, especially with a lot of different things as well. But I do love Andy, although I hate Andy when he lost the sale for Dwight. That pisses me off so much when he tries to gouge Jan for more money and they lose the sale. But at the same time, that's like very Andy because Andy is not a very good salesman. So, but it still pisses me off. Anyways, but I think my vote is going to go for Andy because I'll tell you why. Just Andy's an idiot. That's why.
Well, you've brought us to a tie. What's your tie?
Which means
it's called the live chat.
It's called the live chat, but in saying that, I'll give them a few minutes as say Stanley or Andy in the chat.
All right, Tim, which one is it, Tim?
Yeah,
Tim, tell us which one.
Tim
you
picks
want.
the winner.
But I mean, if it does take too long, I think
Stanley is also the basis of another great cold opening. They see how far they can push.
Tim got it.
Tim voted Stanley.
Tim voted Stanley. Andy's out. I'm not terribly sad about that.
Tim, is your thing over? You should get in here. He's doing like that Joe Bob Briggs last drive-in. Is that what it is? It's basically Monster Vision, but he does that every Friday for like 2 hours.
The next matchup we have is Kevin Malone up against Kelly Kapoor.
Ooh, this would break my sister if she was here.
This will be easy for me.
This is relatively easy. Kelly is one of those ones that I've really enjoyed in the series. So, and like everything from when it came from like Diversity Day, like really early on in the series, to any other time you sort of see her. And, I mean, it's also one of those cases I actually like. Mindy Kaling as an actress, I think she's great. But yeah, Kelly is going to get my vote. Vanessa.
Kevin is great. Kelly is great. I think that Kevin also progresses very well in his character. As you can see, like as the story progresses for his character, he just gets more and more dumb. But it like adds so many good moments for Kevin too. Why I say last word why I say other awesome movies, but I'm gonna go for
2 for Kelly already, right out of the gate. Let's see if I can convince either of you to switch it back.
Robert, who are you going to vote for?
Kelly leaves, okay? Kelly didn't stick around, and Kevin ended up sticking it around. They both end up developing their characters late. They a couple seasons in, eventually they find their groove, and they're both amazing. But at the same time, Kelly's gone. Kelly left. And Kevin was the one that stuck around and was one of the best parts of the Oscar, Angela, Kevin like trifecta that is accounting. And so he gets some pretty awesome moments too. Like the food was great. You're a terrible person, but the food was great. You know, like Kevin definitely has those moments too. I did it. Like he's so excited because he didn't blabber. He didn't give out one of the most crucial pieces of gossip in the office. Kevin.
I totally forgot.
Oscar's having sex with the senator. But yeah, like Kevin for me is, I mean, the chili moment, the turtle. Gosh, that stinks with his dog. Like I prefer the moments that I end up having all the way to the very end.
The whole moment when he sits on Michael, when he's
on the Christmas episode, and everybody's.
I don't know. No one's ever let me sit on their lap before.
And Kevin is definitely, at least I got chocolate. Like he has like one of the best arcs too, because he got what was coming to him. And the way Dwight nonchalantly, it's like, hey, if anybody you can speak up for why we should keep Kevin, go ahead.
Based on merit.
Yeah. And it's obviously Kevin for me.
So Matt, are you going to tie it and send it to Tim, or you go
5 by 11, get you home by 7. He was home by 3 that day. I think Kelly She got better as the show went on. Obviously, I think that's just because they allowed Mindy Kaling to put more of herself into that character. But Kevin just like I've loved since I first started watching the show. The toupee and the tissue box shoes. Just Kevin. I love Kevin. I gotta give it to Kevin.
I think I know who Tim's gonna go for.
I think I know.
So Tim
It's
Kelly.
only human natural.
This is a documentary.
Pam Beasley.
All right,
and
I'm gonna
Jim.
switch over.
What
to
a
Kelly.
waste.
Kevin. You convinced me.
What?
You convinced me. Switch me over to Kevin.
Damn straight. Those are my freaking powers of persuasion. That's Dallas. There we go. Okay, Tim votes for Kevin too.
I'll put Tim Soin there because I haven't submitted yet.
And look at that. All of a sudden, Kevin Malone is dominant in that.
Now,
Is it really hot in here? I think it's really hot in here.
It's the one that's going to break everyone. Jim versus Michael.
Oh, that's a good one.
How dare you?
But, okay.
I'm going to start with Vanessa.
Okay. Oh gosh. I love both these characters. Obviously, I think both of them have their good qualities. But I think that I am going to give it the edge to Michael. Michael does redeem himself a lot of times, but he's just an idiot in a lot of the things. Jim Halpert is every once in a while, he's pranking all the time with Dwight, which I love. But then everything that he does with Pam and the later seasons, although I feel like some of it is also Pam's fault. It just doesn't go well. Their relationship kind of drops, and it makes me really sad. So I will go with Michael because Michael found his dream girl in Holly.
Robert, Jim, or Michael?
You mean a soup snake?
Michael is a gem. Michael is The Office when it comes down to what is fantastic about it. He is the glue that holds it all together until we don't need the glue anymore. It can fly on its own. And for that, just comparing to Jim, of course, Jim, you got amazing qualities when it comes to Jim. Jim is definitely the underdog when it comes to Dunder Mifflin, against all these different conflicts. Jim is the one that's the straight and narrow. And of course, he's the knight that has, that pining for the damsel who he can never have. And that's a great story within The Office. But at the same time, the arc that ends up coming for Michael and getting Holly back and the happiness that he ends up reaching at the very end makes Michael Scott one of the perfect characters in TV. So in terms of being just a flawed character, a flawed person. But yeah, so it's Michael Scott for me. Moving on.
It's Michael Scott.
It's Michael Scott. Who is it? Who is it?
Matt, Jim, or Michael?
I like Michael a lot. I think Michael's great, but Jim Halpert's my favorite TV show character, so it's got to be Jim.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is relatively easy for me. Well, I do like Jim, and you do get a lot of good gifs and memes with Jim in them. You also get a lot of good gifs and memes with Michael in them, and I think he's probably one of the most quotable ones that people kind of go back to when you're talking about The Office. So yeah, my vote's going to go to Michael. So Michael's going to easily move on.
Oh, you know what, Malcolm? We don't need to. You know what? Screw you.
The color commentary.
No, it's just it's. I like when Malcolm does this, which is Michael easily moves on. You didn't say that when we were talking about Stanley or any of that, but no, now we throw in those terms. Okay, all right. Did you get up to season 3, or are you still on season 2 of The Office there, Malcolm? There are 9 seasons.
I mean, Tim just said that there's an article about Jim being kind of a douche. It's true.
He is. I mean, he kind of plays.
So is Michael. Michael's kind of a dick too.
No, Michael is ignorant.
He is ignorant.
He's just ignorant, and he wants friendship, and nobody's giving it to him.
And he wants 100 kids so he can have 100 friends, and nobody can say no to being his friend.
Yeah.
But the next matchup we have, matchup we have is Phyllis versus Oscar. I'll start with Robert on this one.
Yeah, Phyllis is incredible, just in terms of like that's a lady with confidence, you know, like she is the opposite of Bob Vance, you know. Bob Vance is a powerhouse in Scranton. You got to know the Bob Vance name, and Phyllis Vance is his lady. That's his girl, and you don't mess with the Vances, and they will, you know, they'll come as a package in terms of like you had Phyllis, but once Bob was there, it was always kind of Bob and Phyllis. Where Oscar just was like a snake going through multiple different characters, so many different moments from Michael to Dwight to Jim to freaking Angela to Kevin to freaking the senator. I mean, like he just goes, he plays off everybody so well in the story to where Oscar to me felt more utilized, like a wild card when you need Oscar. Like freaking him gonna get his knees whacked with the freaking, what is it, like a wrench? You tell me. But when it came to Phyllis, like she had some great moments. She had some awesome moments, especially with Ellie Kemper, freaking Aaron. Sorry, I almost said Kimmy Schmidt. But when it came down to Phyllis, like there were some great moments, but Oscar had the real fruit when it came to, you know, the tree that is the story of Oscar Martinez. So yeah, for me, it's Oscar.
What's that?
Matt, Phyllis, or Oscar?
That's a really difficult question because I've always liked both of these characters, but they're certainly not like when it comes to the secondary characters, they're certainly not like a Creed or a Kevin to where I'm like always quoting them. Did you know that Phyllis's name in high school was Easy Rider? I probably will give it to Oscar, if for nothing else, the fact that I found out fairly recently, or not fairly recently, but the fact that when Michael kissed him, that was a completely genuine reaction because that was not in the script. So good on Oscar Nunes. Also, yes, when he is talking to Angela, finding out, he's just like, you tried to have him break my legs?
Yeah.
And you guys brought up, though, I have to say, you guys did bring up the fact that, like, Pam starts crying and the camera crew's all, like, lovey-dovey, but Angela tries to murder Oscar, and they're like, all right, good television, I guess.
It's good for the show. Also, one of the camera crew was trying to hook up with Pam, so.
No, don't get me started on Brian. Stupid man.
I've come to hate him more over time.
No, I hated him from the first moment.
I love the breaking of the fourth wall. Loved it. I was so psyched when it happened. Like when he's talking to her and he puts the camera down and you see the boom mic go on the floor. Holy hell, like I was in it. But then over time, I'm just like, why are we causing these problems between Jim and Pam? I know we needed to, but at the same time, it was kind of silly. Yeah, Phyllis with her rainy day stuff, Tim said. The rainy day moments. There was an extended scene we just saw, too, of that moment where Jim goes and offers her chocolate.
Yeah, we just watched it where he's asking her, it's like, Phyllis, would you like some hot chocolate? I'm going to go out get 2 hot chocolates. I'm like, I don't remember that in that scene.
Always learning something new when it comes to the office.
Yeah. That's
but yeah, my vote is going to go to Oscar on this one. I just think he's but he's one of those characters in which I think is really well rounded. Just like what Rob was saying, like the way they use him, just when they use him when they need to go all over the place, is just perfect. So Oscar does move on, but Vanessa, who would you have given your vote to?
I would have given my vote to Phyllis.
You're just being nice.
You
sad.
left me in a bad part of town.
Yeah, that one too. She's like, and I couldn't say no. And what was it? Because she had to go ask somebody to be in Michael's commercial, and she's like crying.
Stu Braxton.
Go to the mall.
Stu Braxton. She was having a book signing at the mall.
Exciting, and in front of all my friends, she's like getting all sad.
Phyllis? Did you get Stu Braxton? No. Yeah. Oh. And then Kevin gives her the piece of tape.
Or the what other scenes where it's very subtle. She doesn't really say a whole lot, but it's when Pam and Jim are having the baby, and he comes out and says that like her name is Cece, she's like this, and like mom and dad are doing well, and then it cuts to Phyllis just eating the ice cream cake, and she has some on her nose, and she's just like,
I mean, some of us have things to do. What, Phyllis? What do you possibly have to do? I have an ice cream cake. Oh, go. Yeah. By the way, Pam, just one more thing. You know, it's great that you guys are together, but when we get new clients, you still have to randomly assign them. It can't be based on who you're sleeping with. And that's why we wait so long to tell people.
Part where she's like, is it okay if I come in here? And then because it's Pam and Jim.
I couldn't see your hands.
I couldn't see your hands, and they're like,
Jim's like, right here.
It smells like popcorn.
It smells like popcorn.
On that note, that's a good segue to our next matchup. We've got Pam versus Toby.
Pam and her Pam.
Matt, who are you going to go for in this?
This is so easy. I don't really like Toby, and you're not supposed to like Toby, and I don't like Toby. And Pam Beesly will forever hold a special place in this boy's heart because she was my first crush. Jenna Fisher, she was my first celebrity crush. So Pam Beesly, actually, not Jenna Fisher. Pam Beesly was my first crush, I have to say. The fictional character, Pam Beesly. But yeah.
Breaking beans.
Yeah, I mean, my vote's easily going to go to Pam in this too. Like, she's one of the characters which I just think is great. And, like, even her relationship she's had with Jim, just any time they're on scene together is just you can really see the chemistry. Vanessa, who are you going to go for?
I think that Toby does have certain things that are pretty funny. But a lot of times it's just a lot of cringe. Smile if you love Mass Prostate. I just watched that too, where he's coming back and telling the guys like they wouldn't let him pick up Sasha from school because they thought, and like a bunch of moms were chasing him, and it's like that's typical Toby. Like everything, why are you the way that you are? So Toby is fine, but again, yeah, my vote is going to be for Pam. Because Pam is sweet, and then she weasels her way into a job that doesn't exist. Make a definite statement, Gabe. Tell me that I don't have it, and then she got the job, so it's great. And yeah, and she became. Or I love the part where she is working at corporate because she's going to art school and it's Halloween. And she's dressed up as Charlie Chaplin, but she can't take the hat or else she looks like Hitler.
Yeah, Pam definitely has far more story in her character and is a much bigger part of the office than Toby. Toby is a fantastic punching bag. And he, like Oscar, is great when he plays off of other people, when they put his character up against Michael or up against Andy, up against Nellie,
Empanadas,
up against the Scranton Strangler. And we at George, was it Harold Scud? James Harold Scud. And he's great for that. But yeah, Pam pulls out a lot more wins in her book for the character of Pam Beesly. So yeah, it's going to be Pam.
Goodbye, Toby. It's been nice. Hope you find your paradise. Toby's moving away.
See ya. My favorite moments too.
And the final matchup we have for round one, we've got Angela versus Ryan. I'm going to start off by.
Know where you're going.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
I'm going. but I'm going Angela for this one. I just think she's a great character, and I don't really have much more to say. Vanessa, we're going on this.
Okay, I think that both of these characters have their awesome qualities. Angela, with her love of cats, her freakishly weird love for cats, and then she's all licking the cat. No, bad.
Oh, did I leave
that's
this on
great.
the whole time? You guys didn't hear anything. No.
Philip? That's the name of my cat. And she's like, because both of them are going to have Philip there. But yeah, I think my vote's for Ryan. Did you think I was going Ryan?
I think you're going opposite what I thought you were going to go for.
So you thought I was going Angela.
Yeah,
I knew it.
There's far more to Angela.
There is, but I think Ryan has like that interesting. He was just a temp that came in. He made his way to sales, and then for some reason became VP of.
Oh, he was qualified. You know,
Yeah,
he
an
was
MBA.
from business school.
I mean, you saw all the other. You saw all the other applicants. I mean,
Right.
Jim did pull out, and Michael. They were like, "Well, you're dating the person who you're replacing," so it wasn't really. Karen was fine and all, but.
So Robert, who are you going for?
For me, it's gonna be Angela again for kind of the same reason with Kelly. Ryan left, and Ryan's gone for quite a bit of time because he's one of the writers. So he's he's in the annex. They could be in the annex and not have to be in the show a whole lot. So when it comes to writing, absolutely, Ryan was killer. When it came to what's his nuts? Who's Ryan? I don't even know their real names anymore. DJ Novak, that guy. Yeah,
DJ
Punked.
Novak.
You ever watch? I saw Punked when he was on that one. But yeah, they adopt these characters so well that when it comes down to the impact that they have long from beginning to end, like Angela, just whether it's Angela Kinsey or Angela Martin, like Angela has so much more going on for Angela and her love of the character and how it did swing back around with Dwight, because it could have easily never gone back to Dwight, but it came full circle in the world of Dwight.
It's
so
true.
Therefore Angela Martin is the one I would pick. You want to change your answer?
No, I'll still stick with
full circle.
Ryan.
They stand in graves and marry each other. Come on.
Now, Matt,
It makes
where are
the
you going to go
funerals
for
very
this?
lovely, but the weddings are a bleak affair.
You only voted for Ryan because he's hottest in the office. That's what Tim said.
I like Angela Kinsey, the
Exactly.
actress, a lot. Particularly if you listen to Office Ladies, which is great podcast. But there's just so many times when I don't like her character. Ryan is the same way. Ryan is also a character, particularly in season 4, I don't like. But I'm giving the slight edge to Ryan because he, particularly in like season 7, has so many just small moments that when I rewatch the show just crack me up. Like when they're at the christening and it's like church is not a party. Hey, everybody ready for party? Everybody got your Kool-Aid? Wolf, that entire episode. I was the youngest VP in the company history. Then he worked at a bowling alley. Tell me your funny bowling alley stories. So yeah, I'm gonna give the slight edge to Ryan. You got BET, the channel BET.
Which means Tim is going to be the decided vote for this one. Tim, Angela, or Ryan?
I didn't go to Thailand. I just went to Fort Lauderdale.
It was undescribable.
I'm trying to think of who I think Tim would vote for.
He already voted.
Did he?
Angela.
Okay.
No.
I was going to say, yeah, it makes sense. It would be Angela because of all the reasons I said.
I
There you
went
go.
for Ryan.
Bandit.
He could be throwing a bone every once in a while. I knew Angela was going to get through.
Yeah.
I've always wondered if the spin-off show, The Farm with Dwight happened, if they would have even had Angela and Dwight end up
I don't think
together.
so. I think that was the way they were
would.
going to go without her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go.
You're putting them up against each other.
So it's now Pam versus Angela, and I'm going to start with Matt.
It's Pam. Pam. No, she's a better character. She has more story stuff going for her.
You love her. News radio.
True as well.
Robert, Angela, or Pam?
The office ladies going up against each other.
Know.
It's funny because, like Pam, there were so many times where I wanted to yell and scream at Pam while watching the series. I never did that with Angela, and because Dwight is my primary character from beginning to end for The Office, I prefer Full Circle connected to Dwight. Therefore, I'm going Angela.
Vanessa, Angela, or Pam?
These two are complete opposites type of characters. But when Angela has her moments, I do like that. She's like, I typically don't like to make people laugh, and then she has like that smirk. My favorite thing about Angela is when they're all hanging out at that bar, and he comes up right next to Dwight. It's a favorite meme.
Oh yeah, when they go to happy hour and she's
like flirting with Isabel.
Whack.
Yeah,
Isabel.
I think, this is a tough one for me. It's really close because I do love Pam and her story, her being innocent but not so innocent at the same time. And
Pam also didn't try to get someone murdered.
Away.
How about this? You've been with a blonde before? It's the big leagues. It's got to be Angela. Come on.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go.
She could taste the answers. Feel the vibrations. Come on, girl. Who's it gonna be?
I'm so sorry, Pam, but it's gonna be Angela.
Angela.
Yeah, my vote's going to easily go to Pam, and I'm going to force Tim to be the person to.
We're gambling that Tim's still in the comment section.
I know, right?
Welcome to Late Night with Take 3, where when we do these things, we gamble that people are still watching us. But Malcolm has a backup. You always have.
I mean, it's one of those ones. Like, if I had to admit, it's always going to be the highest seed, which will go through, which I think is Pam in this case.
Well, if you're going by her seed of who was in the most episodes, then I believe Pam and Dwight are the only people who are in like every episode of the show, if I'm not mistaken. I believe
Jim
that's
has spoken. He said Angela.
6th grade Matt's heart is broken.
Both Jim and Pam are out.
Yeah. What am I even doing here now? I have nothing to do.
But we've got Michael Scott up against Oscar. I'm going to start off by going Michael because he's my favorite character of all time in The Office. But yeah, Vanessa, Michael or Oscar?
I am going to go with Michael Scott because he was right about China.
Robert, Michael.
He did beat Oscar, but yeah, America won that day though. But yeah, it's Michael. I mean, it's for all the reasons I said before. Oscar plays off of a lot of people very well. Does have a nice little storyline with himself and the senator and Angela and Kevin, and it's great. But Michael is the thread that held it all together for so long. So therefore, it's Michael Scott.
And Matt, Michael or Oscar?
I love Oscar a lot. I think there's a lot of great moments, but Michael's just a great character. He has more of an arc. And I didn't really get to talk about it because I was too busy defending Jim last round, but Michael's great. And I like he's like a big child. Like he does stupid things, but like he doesn't know they're stupid. And I like the fact that like you realize as the show goes on that like the reason why he got to the position where he was is because he was the best salesman in the company history. And Dunder Mifflin is just a type of company to where you just fail upwards. And so and I also just like, I, on a personal level, connect with just failing at social interactions and trying to be friends with people. But Michael was always trying. And then he gets his soup snake at the end. So
very valid, like great point too about his sales abilities, because he proves it multiple times why Michael Scott is the best, even though his methods are so weird and very, very unorthodox in terms of how they come to
means go ahead and don't say anything.
Yeah. And it's great, like how Michael Scott can navigate those sales.
That was definitely something that I thought was what, if you're compared to the UK version, was a difference from David Brent. Was like David Brent, you're like, how did you get this job? Whereas Michael, you're like, at least you were a really good salesman. So I can see the company being like promoting you to manager.
On the Office Ladies podcast, they did talk about how they talked to Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant.
Yeah.
About Office, and how they said that in the UK they could get away with having a really dumb manager and idiot.
Yeah, you could be terrible at your job and you'll never get fired.
Right. And then they said that like in America, people would shut off to a manager that's terrible. So they had to at least make it seem like, okay, he got this job because he is a good salesman. And you do see it every so often. You're like, okay, well, Michael can do the job. He's just a very idiot most of the time.
And I mean, I gotta love the episode of Some Good News that John Krasinski did where it interviewed Steve. Just seeing them two on some form of screen is fun. But it brings us to Stanley versus Kevin. Vanessa, I'm going to start with you.
Why do you always keep CCing me on stuff that don't have to do with me? No, my vote is going to be for Kevin Malone. See, Mom, Kevin, what did he say? It's not Ashton Kutcher, it's Kevin Malone. That's what I was trying to say.
No, it's not Ashton Kutcher. It's Kevin Malone.
Your boy is in the inner circle. But yeah, it's Kevin Malone.
Yeah, I'm sorry to, but everyone was just unanimous on Michael. But yeah. Robert, Stanley or Kevin?
Kevin, even though I identify more with Stanley, with the exception of the promiscuity portion. But when it comes down to the antics that Kevin Malone gets in, hell yeah. Like, I love all the moments with Kevin. Yeah, you drive your own car? Yeah, I drive my own car. All right, bye.
I am totally gonna bang Holly.
Yeah, it's got to be Kevin, of course.
Matt, Kevin, or Stanley?
This is pretzels versus chili. This is real difficult.
Put you up and put him in the chili.
I think Stanley has a lot of amazing moments. Look, this is a run out the clock situation, just like upstairs. Yeah, I play a game. It's called Do My Job so that my kids can go to school. But Kevin, I just love. Like, he's so lovable, and he's so like in ways that he's very similar to Michael in the ways that like he just wants to be nice to everyone, but he's so like there's so much of him, but like he is a human full-size teddy bear. Like, you just love him, and he's so sweet. And it's Kevin. Even though I do like Stanley for as much as a grump as he can be, but you know,
I do love Stanley's cold open where
I got 6 numbers. One more would have been a complete telephone number.
The cold open where they're trying to figure out what Stanley will not notice.
Yeah,
and they're like, satchel, no, or the purse, and then Andy's satchel. Thank you, and he's just doing his crossword puzzle. Did I stutter?
Yeah, my vote's going to go Stanley on this. But no, it's. I meant to say it's going to Kevin, but
I was going to say,
I mean, as I said last time, I'm not a big fan of Stanley. Yeah, so Kevin's going to.
Wait a second. Wait. Do people often say that they're going on sales calls when really they're going to do personal things?
Yeah.
And Tim brought up a good point. He said that Kevin was in the Bush's Baked Beans commercial recently too.
Oh,
with chili. So that would have been.
Oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah, no,
Yeah, but Stanley was in the Cheerios
Honey Nut
commercial.
Cheerios. I get it, and he smiles in it too.
He sure does.
But still, the beans. Come on, it's linked directly into Kevin's character.
That's true. That's very true.
But yeah, time to see who's going to go up against Kevin, and it's going to be Dwight or Creed. And I'm going to start with Matt.
This is extremely tough because these are two characters that make me laugh a lot. If we're going by pure comedy, Creed wins. If we're going by story and character stuff, then obviously Dwight wins. So this is a real Sophie's choice for me here. Oh man, I do love Creed, and I think he has a lot of great moments. Particularly if you read his blog. But I'll give the edge to Dwight, even though I do love Creed.
Yeah, I'm going to give my vote to Dwight as well. Dwight, I've like as much as I do love the red stuff that we get to see Creed do. I think Dwight's the more well-rounded character, and I think like he's gets a lot of the best stories in this. But yeah, Vanessa, Dwight or Creed?
What's my perfect crime? A break into Tiffany's. Do I go for the vault? No, I'll go for the chandelier. It's priceless. As I'm taking it down, a woman catches me. Her name is Tiffany. This is. I'm trying to remember that because I love that scene. But
I know that entire speech if you would like to hear it.
No, we're good.
Hold on. It's her father's business. We make love all night, and in the morning, the cops come, and I leave in one of their uniforms. I just love the part where
Dwight,
yeah,
I get away in one of their uniforms. I tell her to go to Paris, but I don't go to Paris. I go to Germany. It's where I stashed the chandelier. 30 years later, I get a letter from her. She's had a son, and it's mine. They're taking another lover. She's waiting for me this whole time.
I tell her to go to Mexico. I don't trust her. He's like, I tell her to go to Mexico to meet her. I don't trust her. I go to Canada. Besides, I like the cold. And he's like, 30 years later, this is where the story gets interesting. 30 years later, I get I get a letter that I have a son and he's the chief of police. I tell her to meet me by the Trocadero, but I don't go. And then he's like, I go to Berlin. That's where I stash the chandelier.
How is this not on Video Drew's freaking test and nerd?
If they have another one, it's gonna happen.
Robert, where are you going with you?
It's Dwight. He's the primary, man. He's the constant. I'm gonna vote Dwight all the way to the end when he wins eventually in the end, unless you guys stop us. But either way, yeah, it's gonna be Dwight.
Wait a second. I'm the butler. Oh, it's just like you people to treat the service class like that. No. It's not that kind of game.
Yeah.
Bo-body and Quabity Auschwitz. But yeah, I love Creed. But
Bo-body.
It's gotta be.
What does the first
Dwight.
B stand for?
I like it.
Keep it running. Creed, corporate has a very important job for you. They want you to find the differences between these two pictures. They're the same picture. And you see him
which brings us to the first of the semi-finals, which is Dwight versus Kevin. And I'm going to go first here. It's Dwight. Vanessa.
Oh God.
Think about the cake.
The cake.
Because he fired Kevin.
No
so
cookie.
Immediately that makes him superior.
I will lead you into the black with veracity. Is Dwight. I choked on that one.
Robert.
Sorry, I choked on my own space.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said. Is it my turn? Can I go?
It's
Dwight.
Yeah.
It is Dwight. Yeah. That's my answer. It's Dwight.
Sensei, are you watching?
It's Dwight. It's Dwight.
Got to be Dwight. Because he fires Kevin.
I don't have friends. I have subordinates.
But yes, I would say that I get along with my subordinates.
That'd be funny if the whole thing crashed and you had to start over.
The whole page itself would have been saved.
I already know how this is all going to go, and I am not looking forward to the end.
Do you know how it's going to go?
Vanessa, Michael, or Angela?
As much as I do love Angela and her progression in the story and her kind of unwinding herself from being a tight ass to just being, Angela, it has to be Michael. Michael is, the epitome that is the circle that is the office. Everything, surrounds the Michael. So if it's not Michael, I send it back.
Robert, Michael, Angela.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I do love Angela, the story is more fulfilling with Michael Scott, and it's a shame Steve Carell never got an Emmy for his character of Michael Scott. But I love it. I love him. I love what he's done with the character, and nobody could even replicate it besides Bob Odenkirk, who would give you that same style, but in his own way.
Yeah.
Because he's a great dramatic actor too. So Odenkirk would have been able to pull it off.
One funky bunch.
But I would have loved the spinoff with Odenkirk's office. But it's Michael Scott. It's Michael Scott.
Matt.
I am Beyonce. It's Britney, bitch. It's Michael. It's Michael.
No, I'm Beyonce. You're Allie Larder.
I do like both of these characters, but
Malcolm, you already said Michael was your favorite. You can't go above that in explanations.
I was going to eventually say that I still do like both of these characters.
So Michael Scott.
Which means we've got probably a really kind of predictable final, and with by number episodes, ironically, Michael has caused upsets. It was gone through because it was a very low seed. But we've got Dwight versus Michael. Matt.
Ooh. This is tough. I think I'll give the slight edge to Michael, just because I relate to him just a little bit more. I'll give the slight edge to Michael.
I
do like Dwight, but Michael's my favorite character, so that's Michael for me as well. Robert.
Dwight Schrute is manager.
You took my thing, genius. I was gonna say that.
Are you kidding? Beginning to end, every single episode, Dwight Schrute is in it. There's episodes where Jim's not in it. There's episodes where Pam's not there. There's episodes where so many other people in the office are not present. But Dwight Schrute is in the office. Even the spin-off episode where actually everybody was there for the cold open with the dirt in the face. But Dwight is, I'm thinking about Dwight again. I was just drooling all over the place. Dwight is the primary character in The Office, beginning to end. And it was always about Dwight. The Office is Dwight. So I love Michael. Michael is a huge part of why The Office was held together. But Dwight, beginning to end, is the most fully fledged, flushed out character with a hell of an arc, beginning to end. How he plays off everybody. It is Dwight Schrute.
Vanessa, Dwight, or Michael?
I was gonna say what he said because I was gonna say Dwight Schrute and Creed Bratton is the new manager. No, I think I'm gonna go obviously with Dwight Schrute. Like he said, I mean, Dwight was a constant in the Office. They were gonna do a spinoff with Dwight. Dwight is my favorite character of the whole show. Hence why I have a bobblehead and why I have a Funko Pop of Dwight. I think that even Dwight, though, too, I just love the transition relationship that he has with Jim, and the way that it flourishes into a really real friendship, like these things do often too. So I do that. I could have grown. They would be this high by now.
They're mushrooms. They don't grow that high.
They don't grow that high. We're like, when he does the alliance with Jim, I don't know what you're talking about.
When he's got a concussion and he's really nice to Pam.
Oh, Pam. Like,
But
it's great.
Recyclops.
My plan to take down Jim has taken a break for the holidays. My heart just melts at the sound of children singing. Nah, really, I'm just tired. The days are shorter. I don't know.
which means if Tim is still in the chat, he gets to decide who's going to win this whole thing.
Yep, Tim, it all comes down to you, and he's going to break my heart. I feel it mustering up. The Michael Scott is working its way.
Would you like to declare bankruptcy? I didn't say it. I declared it. Michael, your deck can follow you. What is it?
Which
then I'll stay off the grid.
Leaving one Dwight.
It's Dwight, according to Tim Franco.
Yeah.
As he spelled it, Dwight.
Dwigged.
D-W-I-G-T.
Leaving one Dwigged, and Dwight found out about it.
He's the winner. I mean, he is the primary character. It's amazing. When you watch The Office, go back in your mind that he is the number one character for The Office, and it makes it a hell of a ride for Dwight Schrute. So he's such a dick.
And since he's basically there the whole time, so when you go to seasons 8 and 9, and you go it based off of Dwight is the main character, it makes season 8 and season 9 that much better because you're focusing on his story arcs. I mean, yeah, you have all the other story arcs happening, but his story arcs are there.
Even has appendicitis and pulls down the projector screen.
Send it to the freaking moon, idiot.
I do not.
I do not miss him.
God.
Yeah, Dwight Schrute. It's amazing. He's one of my favorite characters in TV. Even though Michael Scott is the flashier one that everyone sees up front, but Dwight Schrute, Rainn Wilson, incredible. Just I wish he had so much more parts and luck when it comes to casting. Amazing book writer, and hell of a freaking musician as well too, across the board. Yeah, he's a very talented individual, and I just wish more came to his career.
I also have Jenna Fisher's one about the actor's life as well.
But yeah, that does mean we've reached the end of Late Night Tape 3. Next week, I've decided to just talking about this and going to lead into the last question that I've actually thought of just now. Next week, we're moving from inside the office to out into the middle of the parks and do a bit of recreation. Which is the same creators too, by the way, but also because Parks and Rec, I think it dropped today where they did a special
last night. Yeah.
They did a special reunion episode for that they've all filmed during all this quarantine stuff. So I haven't had a chance to see it because apparently YouTube only wants Americans to see it. Apparently, but yeah. But if they did a reunion thing for The Office, would you want to see it? I'll start with Vanessa.
Yeah, I think that if they did it in the right setting and that it was an appropriate way to bring him back, I don't want them just to bring him back because we love The Office and it could be let's just get him all back. I want them to have a real story first as for reasons why they're coming back, and then yes, bring the characters back. And I would love to see where they are now.
See, The Office is a universe. I mean, it already has existed with multiple offices in it. I mean, you've got one, in the actual NBC office, there are multiple offices that we did kind of get to peek in on, did get to visit when it came to Stanford, when it came to Utica, when it came to Scranton. You know, there was all sorts of different characters at each one of these. Even going into the Bob Odenkirk office, like they had a character as well there when it came to seeing how all these characters could develop into something more. What are y'all, temps today? But when it came to the British office, it exists in the world. David Brent exists in the world of the NBC Universal office. So therefore, why wouldn't you be able to come back with an office? It doesn't have to be Dunder Mifflin. It can be any office, and you can bring in a hell of a team of writers. You can bring in a hell of a team of actors, new actors, old actors, whatever, and have them go and put together a hell of an ensemble, not trying to replicate The Office, but it is still that interview not found footage
mockumentary.
Mockumentary. Thank you so much. There's a term. That's a term. We want what we do in the shadows every freaking week. Check out our reactions available on our channel. But mockumentary style of shot at an office with a great cast of characters. And guess what? Because they live in the world of The Office, you can have other characters come in and interact with them through clever ways. So why not do that? Unfortunately, it will not be, in my mind, us getting The Office back together. A lot of people, all the cast included, are like, yeah, we'll come back and do it. It's like, no, I don't think it would work if we did, like, we're doing another season of The Office at Dunder Mifflin. Everything's the same. It feels like you're trying to just reboot what you've already done. Whereas if you do something new and reinvigorate the franchise with a whole new cast, you can get away with it because it does exist in the world. It's like the sequels continuing the story.
It'll be like, you know, how you have NCIS New York, NCIS Miami. It'll be The Office, Las Vegas.
Sure, why not? Yeah, you have The Office Scranton. You have The Office, I don't even know where they were in the UK. And then you can have The Office somewhere else. You should just throw in British townships out.
Well, that's the one from Doctor Who, so that's why.
Yeah, but yeah, it can be done, and I'd love to see it. A reunion episode like Parks and Rec. It's unfortunate. Like Parks and Rec's kind of weird. I'll touch on that a bit, but it's like that they go into the future in the finale. So now are we watching something that took place in the past? Because it's definitely not taking place after the future of the finale. So therefore,
I was thinking that as well last night watching. I was like, I'm really enjoying this, but didn't you take place very far in the future? And you jumped around a lot.
Yep. So for me, I can't really buy into it a whole lot compared to a true continuation. It's fun, cool. Like they did it, and I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it, but maybe I'll be singing its praises after I actually check it out. But either way, yeah, I'd love to see. I mean, with
Parks and Rec, that's the reason why you started to like Amy Poehler.
Yeah, Amy Poehler. I did not like Amy Poehler until Parks and Rec, and then I fell in love with her. I think she's fantastic, but it took that to get me to be able to enjoy her on a level to where I can translate her now into other roles and characters.
He only sees Leslie Knope in everything that she does.
yeah, for the most part. I love The House with Will Ferrell, where they open up like the gambling ring. So many different Office actors in that series or in that movie. But yeah, when it comes down to David Wallace. David Wallace, he's got such a great moment in there. But yeah, Parks and Rec, The Office, I'd love to see them all come back and do something fun. It could be a movie. It's like the Community mentality. We can just come back and do a 1 hour special. 6 seasons in a movie. And I'd be there to see it with bells on it.
And I mean, those rumors of that Community movie started up again through various interviews. But
Russos just need to freaking pay for it. Come on, Russos.
I know. I feel like the Russos can do it.
You got that Marvel money. Let's put it up. Executive producers, writers, direct it, the whole thing. You got it. Put a bookmark in Hercules and get your ass to Community. Greendale.
But Matt, would you like to see a special Office reunion episode?
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want, like, I know people who are like, I want a whole new season. I'm like, no, because for one thing, the finale shows that many of those characters don't work in that office anyway, so they wouldn't, unless somehow they all just lose all their jobs and have to go back to working at Dunder Mifflin, which would just be upsetting. But I would totally be up for, like, you know, Michael's throwing some party or something that they all come out for or something. I would be, particularly despite chronological issues I have with the Parks and Rec reunion special that aired, something like that I would be into, because I do love these characters and it is my favorite show. But I don't know, it's that dipping into the well to where it's like, I'm always kind of trepidatious whenever people talk about that stuff, because I'm just like, you can just leave well enough alone. It's I love the show and I love these characters and I always will, but I don't know. There's some reunions that they do it really well, and then there's other ones where it's like, maybe you should have just not done a spin-off series of Full House. Maybe you should have just left well enough alone on that one, guys.
Yeah, that one puttered out. Yeah, you're right. Like, there is a novelty behind it, but it doesn't always hit.
It just
right.
wore out. Like, it wears out its welcome, because
yeah.
Particularly a show like that, because then you got to a point to where it was like they were trying to do their own thing while also trying to be Full House, and it's like,
that's why I'm really interested to see what they do with the Saved by the Bell series, because
me too. Yeah,
if I scrounge behind us, I've got the Saved by the Bell collection back here, including college years. I love Saved by the Bell. Even had the Zach and Kelly's wedding movie on VHS. I recorded it off of TV because I was such a huge fan of the story of the characters. And for me, like, the fact that they're not coming back to do a sitcom style of live theater or live studio audience comedy like Full House did, but they're rebuilding the sets. You got the Max, you got the school, but it's basically just a live, drama with a hint of comedy type, high school Degrassi type situation, I guess you could say. But I'm interested because they're changing it up just enough to where I'll check it out, and it doesn't feel like Saved by the Bell, the new class, where you're just trying to redo the same thing with different people, where, it's weird how that
or it's like Psych. Like, I think what they're doing with the movies is great, to where it's just like, continue the story in little chunks, and just like have new mysteries, and that's it. That's all you need. You don't need a new season of the show.
That's just continuing the same thing they were already doing, though. Like, they're shooting it the same way that they always shot it. It's just in movie form. Like, changing it up from a completely different medium, which is live studio audience, to this freaking artificial sets and everything, like that doesn't happen very often. But then I say what I want from The Office is the same exact style with completely different people. So you see, it's like it depends on what the actual story is and if it works in an anthology type of storytelling medium. And for me, The Office absolutely can do it. But Saved by the Bell, I'll check it out. I'll figure it out probably pretty quick in the first few episodes. But in my mind, back of my mind, I don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of someone who actually really enjoys Fuller House,
Dude, we were diehard. We were diehard Fuller House for like the first 2 seasons.
I was diehard for the first season, and the second season I just fell off of.
He just needs to be with
No, she should. It's like Steve had a good thing going, DJ had a good thing going. This is going to turn into the Fuller House talk, and then they're like, "Oh, done with that. Bring them together." And to me, it's like, we didn't need that. Like,
yes,
you guys
we
are good
did.
separate.
Steve and DJ forever.
Nah,
I'm with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what these final episodes are going to bring. From what I've heard, is we're getting them in June. I think that's when they're dropping. But yeah.
Is Aunt Becky gonna dig out of prison by those episodes?
Apparently, she's working on a case that might actually free her, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the final season were all filmed and have all been filmed. I think they all filmed it together. They just released it in 2 halves for some reason.
I watched Dad Jones's reviews of them. That's how I know what's happening on Fuller House.
But anyway, before we start going down the rabbit hole of Full House, this is the end of the show. Well, but Vanessa, where can people find all the stuff that you do online?
So first of all, check out our Dunder Mifflin filming locations video on our channel. We went to the filming locations for both Dunder Mifflin.
I will never move on, Tim.
And we went to the was he talking about Full House?
Yeah.
And we went to Pickwick's Pub, which is the filming location for Poor Richards. And that video is available on our channel. It was a lot of fun shooting around the front of Dunder Mifflin, recreating some of the scenes from The Office. But other than that, you can do the thing.
On our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Stardust.
All the social networking gin joints, you know where they are. That throws a lot of people off. They're like, whoa, wait, is he going to keep going? Did he stop? There's more to it, but it doesn't apply to this video because then it's kick into the party, feel the party, keep the party going on our Patreon, takes the party where it needs to go. Thank you guys so much, as always. This party is over.
We don't have a Patreon because we have nothing to offer you people. But if you want to give us money, go right ahead.
Neither did we. We didn't actually put stuff on our Patreon for a very long time. Because sometimes you just need a little help.
Yeah. But Matt, where can people find you online?
You guys, as always, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, MattMovies611 on YouTube and WordPress, and right here as host of Second Look. I got an announcement coming about that show because things have happened and have not panned out the way they have. You'll see a post in the Facebook group at some point, and I'm also constantly on here because Malcolm just continues to pick topics I want to talk about. I wish I had my Friday nights back, but nope. Nope. Because I'll be on next week, Parks and Rec. It's the Office, Parks and Rec, top 2 shows.
I mean, you could always say no if you wanted to, man.
I can say no. I can say no when I want to. I don't have a problem. You got the problem. I don't have a problem. I can say no if I want to.
But anyway, you can find me hosting late night Take 3 every Friday night. Next week we're doing Parks and Recreation. You can also find me hosting Rankum every Saturday night, and this week's Rankum is going to be something.
Acting performances in DC.
Yes. Acting performances in DC movies should be really interesting. I do not know why I momentarily forgot what that was going to be, but
I forget everything that I'm trying to remember all the time. That's why I really don't Schmodown anymore. My brain is just gone.
But yeah, you can also find me over on Full Metal, where I host Full Metal Classic and Full Metal Random over there for trivia things. And so from all of us here at Late Night, see you later and wash those hands.